There, welcome to another episode of Blake's Everyday Podcast. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna start off with my little pissiness rant because I'm angry. Because I'm super angry, and it's taking me everything to just read the Bible tonight. And man, I don't know why that is, because it's almost like Satan's trying to get a grab of me and trying to pull me back from reading the Bible tonight. And we had such a good night of reading last night. There's no way I'm letting Satan stop me. But yeah, I mean, I'm angry. Tampa just lost, and I know that's not a big reason to be angry, but I guess when you're as competitive as I am, you get angry at that kind of stuff pretty easily. It's just one of those things. Yeah. I mean, everything was working against me tonight. Not only did my team lose, but I couldn't find my remote to turn off the dang game, so game's probably still going on at this point. And I was just so upset that I had to turn it off. But yeah, I mean, that's just Satan, working, his way through you, trying to get a grip on your behavior and what you're gonna do. And I need to realize that. And I mean, my anger emotion is crazy. I have a lot of anger, but I'm working on that. And I do need to realize that it's just hockey. At the end of the day, it's just hockey. It does suck because I was stuck there watching the Buffalo, like the opposing team, Buffalo, for example, their stream, like their channel. So I wasn't watching the Tampa channel. I was watching Buffalo's channel. And man, the bias in people is just ridiculous. I mean, there's so much biased things. I mean, but dang, man, the bias and these people commenting on the game, it just pissed me off. And it made things worse. It's already a big game. There's a lot on the line with this game. And these no calls or calls for them or anything like that, the bias just slips from their voice. Like, it's like they're mentally challenged. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, to them I do. It really aggravated me. That is one of the issues with having what I have for TV. But because sometimes I'll get both streams, and I'll be happy as can be. Even if we lose, I'll just be like, yeah, you know what? These guys are right. They're laughing at the end of the game, whatever. But when I'm hearing these guys talk all this crap, boy, does it just make me want to go flying through the TV. But that that is what we are working on, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it real quick. All right, I'm back. So, no, I mean, I got so angry that I threw probably 3 hats around. This is, in fact, probably the 4th hat that I'm wearing tonight. And I just did put it on right before the video because I didn't want everybody to see my hair, which isn't that bad. But when I have my hair cut this short, makes me feel like I'm balding. So, gonna wear a hat. But no, I threw at least 2 or 3 hats, and I just left them there. I was angry. Kids were pretty crazy, so that was another thing. But I don't know. Everything was just kind of not working in my favor. I should have known, you know, and you know, it's funny how I get so angry and wrapped up in this little thing. But there's other things going on in this world. We have people fighting for our country and a foreign land. You know, why am I being so mad at this? If there's anything to be mad about, it's whether one of them dies, you know. We as Americans are so lucky and grateful to be living in the land that we're living in, and we get wrapped up in it, you know. And it's like I talked about last night, and if you didn't watch last night's video, I do recommend that you watch it. There was a lot of cool points, and the video is 48 minutes long, but I mean, we got in there deep, and we also read 3 chapters, so that was cool. But you know, it's one of those nights for sure. We are on chapter 14. We finished chapter 13 last night. So the plan is to make it to chapter 16. I don't think we're gonna read chapter 16. No, I'm not gonna lie. I think we're gonna get to 15 and 16. I think we're gonna read 14 and 15 tonight, just because the length of these chapters. But we're gonna read them. We're gonna read the descriptions. I wish I had a little bit more energy tonight. It's not a late night tonight that I'm filming. It's just about 10 p.m. now. So let's go ahead and start reading. So the title for chapter 14 is "The People Rebel." Rebel. That night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept loud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, "If only we had died in Egypt or in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" And they said to each other, "We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite assembly gathered there. Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me, in spite of all the signs I have performed among them? I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them. But I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they." Moses said to the Lord, "Then the Egyptians will hear about it, by the power you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, that your cloud stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud by the day and a pillar of fire by night. If you put all these people to death, leaving some alive, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, 'The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on oath, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness.' Now may the Lord's strength be displayed, just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation. In accordance with your great love, forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them from the time they left Egypt until now." The Lord replied, "I have forgiven them, as you asked. Nevertheless, as surely as I live, and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on oath to their ancestors. Not one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it. But because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are living in the valleys, turn back tomorrow and set out toward the desert along the route to the Red Sea." The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "How long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites. So tell them, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing I heard you say. In this wilderness your bodies will fall, every one of you 20 years old or more, who was counted in the census and who has grumbled against me. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. As for your children that you said you hold on. There we go. Maybe that'll help. As for your children that you said would be taken as plunder, I will bring them in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But as for you, your bodies will fall in this wilderness. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness, until the last of your bodies lies in the wilderness. For 40 years, one year for each of the 40 days you explored the land. You will suffer for your sins and know what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will surely do these things to this whole wicked community, which has banded together against me. They will meet their end in this wilderness. Here they will die. So the men Moses had sent to explore the land, who returned and made the whole community grumble against him by spreading a bad report about it. These men who were responsible for spreading the bad report about the land were struck down and died of a plague before the Lord. Of the men who went to explore the land, only Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, survived. When Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly. Early the next morning, they set out for the highest point in the hill country, saying, "Now we are ready to go up to the land the Lord promised. Surely we have sinned." But Moses said, "Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies, for the Amalekites and the Canaanites will face you there, because you have turned away from the Lord. He will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword." Nevertheless, in their presumption, they went up toward the highest point in the hill country, though neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in the hill country came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. Okay. Wow. Numbers is getting crazy. So, we do have 3 descriptions here. No, we got 2. We got 2 descriptions. We got 3. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So, chapter 14, verses 5 through 11. Here, the strong faith of 4 men is contrasted to the faithfulness of the entire nation. Moses and Aaron fell down before God, probably an intercessory prayer for the people. Joshua and Caleb reaffirmed their belief in God's ability to miraculously overcome the giants of Canaan. The entire congregation, however, refused to listen and even discussed stoning them. These 4 men wanted to follow God's plan. The majority forced them to do otherwise. The result of not trusting God was a prolonged wilderness experience. Chapter 14, verse 24. In contrast to the unbelief of the other Israelites, Caleb trusted God and obeyed him fully. The positive consequence of his faith was his entrance into the promised land. Though he had to wait nearly 40 years to arrive there, all the other adults except Joshua died as they wandered on their 40-year wilderness trek. If we try to walk in our own strength, going on our own way, we also will wander in the wilderness, never experiencing the full blessing God desired for us. But if we step out, trusting God to lead and protect us, we will discover a new life. Notice that even Caleb and Joshua had to wander in the wilderness on their way, but through perseverance and faith in God, they did finally arrive. I like that one. Chapter 14, verses 34 through 45. After Moses announced God's judgment, the Israelites showed superficial attitudes of repentance. Then they tried to conquer parts of Canaan in their own strength, but their mission was unsuccessful. As we seek to overcome past areas of weakness, we need to do it in God's way, with God's timing, and with God's help. The obstacles we face are too great to be tackled alone, but with God's help, nothing is impossible. I like that one as well. With God's help, nothing is impossible. That's right. I mean, just look at David and Goliath. All right. Chapter 15. Supplementary offerings. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, after you enter the land I am giving you as a home, and you present to the Lord food offerings from the herd or the flock, as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, whether burnt offerings or sacrifices, for special vows or free will offerings or festival offerings, then the person who brings an offering shall present to the Lord a grain offering of a tenth of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with a quarter of hin of olive oil, which each lamb for the burnt offering or the sacrifice prepare a quarter of a hin of wine as a drink offering. With a ram prepare a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with a third of hin of olive oil and a third of hin of wine as a drink offering. Offer it as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. When you prepare a young bull as a burnt offering or sacrifice for a special vow or a fellowship offering to the Lord, bring with the bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with half a hin of olive oil, and also bring half a hin of wine as a drink offering. This will be a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Each bull or ram, each lamb or young goat is to be prepared in this manner. Do this for each one for as many as you prepare. Everyone who is a native born must do these offerings in this way when they present a food offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. For the generations to come, whenever a foreigner or anyone else living among you presents a food offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, they must do exactly as you do. The community is to have the same rules for you, and for the foreigner residing among you, this is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. You and the foreigner shall be the same before the Lord. Same laws and regulations will apply both to you and the foreigner residing among you. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land to which I am taking you, and you eat the food of the land, present a portion as an offering to the Lord. Present a loaf from the first of your ground meal, and present it as an offering from the threshing floor. Throughout the generations to come, you are to give this offering to the Lord from the first of your ground meal. Now, if you as a community unintentionally fail to keep any of these commands the Lord gave Moses, any of the Lord's commands to you through him, from the day the Lord gave them and continuing through generations to come, and if this is done unintentionally without the community being aware of it, then the whole community is to offer a young bull for a burnt offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, along with its prescribed grain offering and drink offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement for the whole Israelite community, and they will be forgiven, for it was not intentional, and they have presented to the Lord for their wrong a food offering and a sin offering. The whole Israelite community and the foreigners residing among them will be forgiven because all the people were involved in the unintentional wrong. But if just one person sins unintentionally, that person must bring a year-old female goat for a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement before the Lord for the one who erred by sinning unintentionally. And when atonement has been made, that person will be forgiven. One and the same law applies to everyone who sins unintentionally, whether a native-born Israelite or a foreigner residing among you. But anyone who sins defiantly, whether native-born or foreigner, blasphemes the Lord and must be cut off from the people of Israel, because they have despised the Lord's word and broken his commands. They must surely be cut off. Their guilt remains on them. While the Israelites were in the wilderness, a man was found gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly, and they kept him in custody because it was not clear what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The man must die. The whole assembly must stone him outside the camp." So the assembly took him outside the camp and stoned him to death, as the Lord commanded Moses. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, throughout the generations to come you are to make tassels on the corners of your garments with a blue cord of each tassel. You will have these tassels to look at, and so you will remember all the commands of the Lord, that you may obey them and not prostitute yourselves by chasing after the lusts of your own heart and eyes. Then you will remember to obey all my commands and will be consecrated to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God." All right, that was chapter 15. We do have two descriptions here. Yeah, two descriptions. So let's go ahead and read those. Chapter 15, verses 1 through 36. This restatement of many of the Levitical laws was intended to train the new generation concerning their accountability to God. They would be allowed to enter the promised land and enjoy God's blessings, but they needed to realize that in their new life there, they would be accountable to God. Privilege always brings with it responsibility, and God was affirming this principle with a new generation of Israelites. Chapter 15, verses 37 through 41. The Israelites were required to wear tassels on the corners of their clothing. This would remind them constantly of their covenant relationship with God, that they were to obey him. It would be a visual reminder that their commitment to obey God was important in every realm of life. Although the New Testament does not command such a ritual for us today, the principle behind it is helpful. As we commit our lives to God, we need to realize that obedience is important in all areas of life. I do like that one. All right. So tomorrow we will hop back in. We'll start reading chapter 16. Yeah, 16. 16 will probably be our longest chapter tomorrow, because 17, 18, and 19 are pretty short. In fact, we might even make it to tomorrow. We might even make it to chapter 20. Who knows? But we'll save that for tomorrow, and go ahead and say a prayer. Oh. Lord, thank you for granting me the strength to get into this tonight. Thank you for letting me defeat my mind, my brain. Thank you for pushing me past any doubt that I had. Reading the Bible tonight was great. I'm so grateful for doing it. It has kept me in reading your word, and it kept me on my path, Lord, and I just hope to continue to continue on my path every night. And I'm just so grateful and blessed that you let me continue, and you just keep me on this path, and I'm so grateful for it. Thank you for keeping our families and our own lives in your hands, Lord, and safe. We're in such a wicked world today that we're just so thankful. The sin of other people has been rough, but you've kept us from the nastiness of the world. Lord, we just couldn't be more grateful. I'm so blessed, Lord, in God's name, amen. I don't know. It's Monday night. I will say that prayer could have been probably better, but I liked it. I think it was speaking from my heart, because that is what I'm grateful for, and I'm grateful for everything that we're doing right here. It's not we're not doing crazy stuff. We're not, but we are reading the Bible, and that's important. Making our way through Numbers now. We've read Job, we read Genesis, we read Exodus, we've read Leviticus, and now we're on Numbers, our 5th book. And I couldn't be any happier. I mean, we've literally read 4 books. We're on our 5th book now, and I have nearly 50 videos on YouTube already. And that's really cool. To me, I think that's super cool, because this all kind of came to my idea, like a month and a half ago. I was just like, you know what? I want to start reading the Bible every night on my phone and just recording. I want to do like a podcast type thing. That's always been my idea. So my thing was I always wanted to be a sports analyst. I wanted to watch sports and be able to analyze it. I wanted to be an announcer. I wanted to be this sports journalist type guy. I wanted to be on the news and be like, oh, by the way, look at your local team here. Look how good they're doing this season. But, I didn't go to college for that. And nor should I have. But needless to say, everything works out in a way that God had planned before you even knew it was planned. But that's what I always wanted to do. So I always had this kind of envision of doing something regarding, like a podcast type thing. I always had like a dream of doing something like that. And what's better than a podcast that just reads the Bible and doesn't care about the viewership, And, I've looked at the previous several videos. There's literally nobody watching at this point. And that's okay. Because, you know what? At the end of the night, I'm making my video not for that person. Well, somewhat for that person, but I'm making it for myself. And for whoever wants to, get knowledge, gain their ground. And I know there are several different ways of doing that, and that's great. But this is for people that just want to hear human talk. Want somebody that can stop every once in a while and relate to everything. There's several videos on this channel where I'm completely out of it, pretty much. I get tired. I'll be ready to fall asleep during my video. I have videos where I'm I'm a human. I make errors. I stay up too late. I try to record these videos too late. I have other priorities in my life. But the one thing that I'm doing is videoing my struggle, keeping up. And I am keeping up, but there is struggles there. And it's gonna be really, really cool in a couple years when I read the Bible a couple times and I'm looking at these old videos and just going, wow, I've really, really gained a lot of experience from these times, and I've really grown in my spirituality since then. Which right now, to be honest with you, I feel pretty spiritual. But I know there's going to be a point in time where I'm going to be even more spiritual, and that's where I'm aiming. I want to be that spiritual person. I want to be. I'm not going to say a perfect man. I want to be, the best that I can be to the way I need to be. I don't know. I want to be that guy. I want to better myself. And I think everybody should want to better themselves. And it's sad that not a lot of people do. And I'm not saying anything about anybody that might be watching, because I know these videos aren't the greatest, but they are what they are. And that's the cool thing about it. We're just making videos, and we're just reading the Bible. And sometimes I talk about different stuff. And, there's going to be, because this is a podcast, they're not all going to be about the Bible. There's going to be eventually podcasts where I'm just talking about random crap, stuff that's going on. I don't know if it'll take a whole video to talk about crap that's going on, because the stuff that I'm interested in isn't particularly interesting to a lot of other people. But it'll be cool to me. I guess that's the cool thing about being able to do your own thing. And I do hope people watch this video, because not just this video, but my videos. I do hope that eventually people do start watching these and go, hey, I like these. This is cool because he's giving some normalcy. I do hope that happens eventually. But that's not what I'm going to strive for. I'm not striving for viewership. I do want to make that clear. Obviously, I don't care about viewership, or else I'd be doing all types of stuff. But I hope you guys had a great Monday. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. I will talk to you tomorrow. I'm not going to let Satan kick me down. Tonight was a great night. We pushed past Satan tonight. Because like I said in the beginning, I didn't want to do this video. But I knew I needed to. And those words, after I started reading the Bible tonight, they just shrunk. They just went, Put that out there. That's beautiful. Because if that means anything, that means God's working in our favor. I stuck to my word. I stuck to reading my Bible, even though Satan was telling me not to read tonight. Pushed past it. We read. We did it. I hope you guys are just as happy as I am right now. But I am happy, even though in the beginning of the video I was really upset. So that's gracious. That's beautiful, and I hope to continue down this path, because if there's anything that this does, is Yeah, I mean, it makes us new people. Even in one day. I mean, this for example, I was angry. I didn't want to read. I took the time though. Stuck to my word. Stuck to my guns. Read. Here we are. I'm in a way better mood. But again, have a great Tuesday. Don't work too hard tomorrow. Good night.